that's what I went
now,
in
just
to
so you
see,
both know.
and I was pleasantly not surprised. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So
You got what you wanted out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I really enjoyed it. My only real issue with it was I feel like it's fun once.
Yeah, you
know
might
what I
be able
mean?
to. You might be able to watch it once or twice, and that's about it, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the first Deadpool I could still watch and enjoy. Obviously, it's not going to be the same as the first time you watch it, but I could still watch it and enjoy it. The second one I don't like as much by far, and then this one was like, this was a really, really fun experience. I'm good.
Yeah.
I felt like I could watch it again with my wife, but I wouldn't watch it again unless I needed to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be a
or
fun one to
you're-
show
yeah.
to somebody, but you're
Yeah.
not watching it by yourself very much.
I feel
What's up, Panda Blue?
a lot like the Spider-Man No Way Home. It's just like you watch that once and it's fun. Again, they like meld everything together, which is fun with Fox stuff or whatever, Sony stuff, and then it's good. You're done.
I
think
definitely
there's
enjoyed
more
all the tracks they
to-
made at Disney's expense and Fox's expense.
Yeah, I mean Deadpool goes hard, right? Which is what you
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah.
I think perfect. There's more to No Way Home than there is to Deadpool. Like, I think
Agreed.
it would be a better experience the second, third, fourth time. I'm a ladder. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time, bud. Good to see you. But yeah, I think I don't know. It's hard to say because I've only seen the Deadpool the one time. Deadpool
Right.
and Wolverine, sorry, the one time. And I laughed a lot, and I really enjoyed it. I did see it in my theaters with my wife, and then I don't know. I just don't really have a huge, strong desire to go back to it anytime soon. But we'll see. I could be 100% wrong. In fact, I would like to be. What's up, nice?
sweet.
How you doing?
The chats are paired. Excellent.
Cool. So I can So I could always see yours in Restream. Are you actually
Yes,
seeing my
I
chat
can see
on
yours
your?
now. Last time we did it, for whatever reason, like I reset or something, and it just knocked the chat out, and I couldn't see anything on yours. So now I'm seeing yours and mine combined on the Restream, and then of course in OBS I'm seeing just mine. So what's up, El Jefe?
No redemptions on Thursdays, Hefe. This has been a thing for a while. I would have thought you'd have figured it out by now, but I will pin it again for you. Manually unpin. Not while we're doing the show, at least.
Takes a real man to celebrate Thanksgiving in a collared purple shirt. Hey, I celebrated Thanksgiving tonight with a Canadian family. They were here. They obviously live in Canada primarily, but they were here visiting, and they celebrated Thanksgiving with us. And it was a fun conversation. We got to hear about their Thanksgiving from October 6th. You guys celebrated?
Yeah,
it changes every year, but it's like
second
the
Monday
first-
of October.
Yeah.
Okay. So like the second to last Thursday of November for us. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a fun time. I stuffed myself with turkey and ham and mashed potatoes and all the usual stuff. Had ourselves a nice time, and got to talk with Canadians for Thanksgiving.
Wow, it's nice of them to travel all the way across the
across four oceans to get here.
Yeah, to get
Four
there.
oceans. Just it's growing more and more every time. I got sick during dinner. Oh no, that sucks, ladder.
I did not ask them why they celebrated Thanksgiving. I assumed it was for similar reasons that Americans celebrate Thanksgiving. They just kind of do it at a different time, I'm guessing.
It's a weird
To be
holiday
honest,
to
I don't even know
celebrate
why
just in general.
Americans celebrate Thanksgiving.
It's
Yeah,
really
Something to do
just
with the
about
Mayflower, I
getting
think. I don't
food
know.
and hanging out with people. Don't think about the actual holiday too hard. It's not great.
We don't want to get
Yeah,
into details. There's probably some whole backstory that people don't want to talk about. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the whole, colonialism is probably not a good thing to celebrate anymore, but whatever.
Oh, thanks,
It's fine.
Trev. I appreciate you opening up a second window there. Always nice to get the extra views going for both channels. And for all my YouTube viewers, thanks for stopping by. Channel points are limited here because we're doing the Restream thing together. We get together and talk about movies on Thursdays. This is kind of Dan's movie thing, is what I always call it. It's actually called R Rating. Equal endeavor, all three parts.
Thank
But,
you.
Dan's
I'd
it's
say I'm
Dan's
about
brainchild.
20% in.
Flint, you can't just unsubscribe and resubscribe and get a Bean Boozle. This doesn't work like that. Bring a friend. You've already made 5 accounts. Make a 7th.
And learn how to spell.
I wasn't even going to argue with him on that one, but I'm really cold right now.
You don't have to argue with him. Just tell him to go back.
It works like that. It doesn't. I make up the rules, not you. My channel. And kind of runs, but mostly mine. Charlie Brown Thanksgiving applies to Americans, not Canadians, as far as I know. Fair, I guess. Oh. All right. Well, we're running just the tiniest bit late, but we wanted to do something before the show. This isn't as long as I was hoping it would be, just because I got a little bit busy and didn't get to make more of them. So we'll see how this goes.
If
you
I'm
want to
not
get
mistaken,
started,
Dan,
or you have
you had
something else you want
something
to talk
lined
about?
up for us today because I was busy stuffing my face with turkey and didn't do my homework like I'm supposed to.
Admittedly, it was like yesterday, like last night. You're like, oh, hey, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. I don't know if I can make it. We're just like, oh, okay, cool. You didn't know that was coming all year long.
Neither of you said anything about Thanksgiving, and I'm like, oh, that's right. They're both Canadian. They don't give a shit.
Did not think of it one
Been
bit.
there, done that.
Yeah.
Uh,
He just needed us to remind him about his own holiday. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Yeah. if
the
you wanna-
ISS watched the parade. What are you talking about, Ladder?
the International Space Station watched the Macy's Day Parade he was in.
Oh, that's cool.
Just kind of cool.
I like space stuff. That's nice to know.
It's fitting timing
Yeah.
as we're talking about aliens. 20% clean in here.
So, so next week, are we not getting together, or are we getting together and doing Home Alone? What's happening? Where am I?
As far as I know, we were still getting together.
Okay.
And it was just a matter of, I was thinking, like, do we do Home Alone or should we do our Christmas movie episode? Because then I can edit it and put it out there. And then it, like, exists before Christmas. Because, like, the Halloween, like, our favorite Halloween movies went live, like, November 7th or something. It was like, well, that's dumb.
Right.
So, like, if we do our favorite Canadian ads, then we can do it like our favorite Canadian ads. Sorry, somebody said ads in the comment. We do our favorite Canadian movies next week. Then I can have it edited that weekend.
Still wrong.
What did I say that time? Damn it.
Canadian movies?
For favorite Canadian movies instead of Christmas. Although I wouldn't mind doing.
I would be
some
curious
favorite
what that
Canadian
list would
movies.
look like.
Yeah.
Okay, our favorite Christmas movies next week. I can have them edited pretty quickly over the weekend, and it could be out for like December 4th, and then it lives on YouTube all month long, which
I mean,
makes
it'll live
more
on forever,
sense to
but-
me.
Yeah.
And then we can still do. Wow, I am louder. Thank you so much for the subscription, buddy. That's awesome.
Woo!
Oh, sorry, Panda Blue gifted. Thank you so much for the gift, Panda Blue. Appreciate you. And then we can do the Home Alones after that. And I think we were talking about doing Gremlins as well. Is that correct? We were talking about doing Home Alone as one, like both of them in one episode, and both the Gremlins in one episode.
We could do whatever. I don't think we really landed on anything other than we weren't going to do like all 6 Home Alones. We were probably just going to do 2.
I say we just do
Yes.
the Macaulay Culkins and call it a day.
You were right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so let's plan on that then. So next week we'll do our favorite Christmas movies. Just come with like 5 or 6 listed. Won't have too much structure to it. We'll just kind of have a conversation with the audience. And then we'll do Home Alone after that, which I don't have a calendar in front of me. 1 second. So that'd be, that's the wrong direction. So the 5th we'll do Christmas movies. 12th we'll do Home Alone. Do we want to do Gremlins on the 19th and then take the 26th off and then come back on the 2nd for Prometheus?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Good chat, guys. All right. I will have that written down and make sure that we're good to go for that. Make sure the audience knows what's going on.
Basically,
The audience that isn't
We're
here
on
currently.
schedule every Thursday going forward until the Christmas week. We're taking that off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you need another day off for some Christmassy things,
Nope.
like last time with Halloween, we pushed it like a day forward. But other than that, I think we're probably good to go. Flint, I'm not going to argue with you. If you were here last year, I did a top 5 with my brother, and Die Hard made my top 5. So I will not fight you on it. It is accurate. Also, the chats are combined. You don't need to go to both Run and Mayan chat, but like also appreciate you.
Oh,
Also,
that's great.
Flint, I want to disagree just so you can fight me because I feel Fight School would add a real good element to our fight.
Okay. There was a lot of fights in that sentence, but sure.
Yeah.
I need to do my homework on Fight School, and also, Clean. I still haven't gone back and seen your VOD of your IRL stream, and I'm really
that's
sad.
fine.
I've been meaning to do that.
Don't you worry about it.
So next week, since we are on schedule next week for the regular Thursday, doing Home Alone or Gremlins or whatever, I don't care. I'll be here, and I know all the movies.
You just fucking listed it.
Dude, I don't remember stuff. I'm
Next
sorry.
week, favorite Christmas movies.
Okay, sounds great. All right, favorite Christmas movies. I know those too. I don't have to watch anything special. So Harry Potter is a Die Hard movie. So next week, you guys need to come prepared. We will be making a movie title and synopsis for each of our co-stars of the show. So I'll be doing one for Dan and one for Clean, and Clean will be doing one for me and one for Dan. And Dan, you get the point, right?
You'll be doing one for me and for Run.
You said we're doing a synopsis and a poster?
A movie title and synopsis for that movie. So I will be making a movie title for Cleaning Agent and giving the brief synopsis of what that movie entails.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So come prepared. I'm giving you a week's warning. That's going to be our warm-up next time. We can talk about that and laugh about it.
You're doing Cleaning Agent doing me, I'm doing you?
No, we each do
we're
each
doing
other.
one
We're
for
doing
each of
both.
each.
One for each of us. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing these guys, and you guys are doing those guys, and we're all doing one for everybody.
I'm
Ain't
doing
nobody-
everybody.
You do too.
All right.
You're doing
Ain't-
two.
Ain't nobody listening in this but me.
Nope, that's it.
It's really hard to pay attention to Run. It just doesn't come natural.
Wow. All right, getting
That's what my
frisky
cat
already.
says
Let's
too,
do
man.
this thing. Let's do this thing.
I fucked up Battle World today. I wonder how mad they'll be at me. I don't think Run cares.
Yeah.
Dude, Flint, everybody's messing up Battle World. People are just like not even showing up for Battle World. Like no one cares.
The amount of people who are just giving up wholeheartedly is kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
But also
plus it's like Thanksgiving, so
understandable.
people are probably busy. Like,
Yeah, I think there might be
Yeah.
10 alliances in the entire game that are trying for Battle World. Like in the entire game, and everybody else is just like, well, we'll do
We'll
it.
get
little
what
and
we
see
get
how
when
it
we get
goes.
it.
Yeah, we'll get what we get.
Anyways, we could brag on that for a while, but there's no
Let's
point.
not.
You guys don't play it. All right. Show officially became R-rated. I'm talking about doing everyone else. Ugh. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do here is the audience can absolutely play along. If you guys could not read chat, that would probably be better because I'm curious to actually test your knowledges, and then the audience can play along without helping you out.
Okay.
I have, I think, 5 movies, and for each movie, I've got 4 quotes from said movie. So
Do you want me to like write it down and then?
no, they're going to be on screen. I don't know if you can already see the one off to the side here, what you can see on your side of the screen. But I will give you, I think it's hard for me because I'm generally really good at quotes. I will try and make it so that the quotes get easier, so that the faster you can get it, the more likely you are to get it.
Okay.
You can have one guess per quote. And again, there's 4 quotes per movie. So whoever can get it first gets the point.
Okay, let's run
Okay, and we just shout it out.
it. Shout it out.
Say your name, and then I'll call on you, and you can, be like, oh, Will, and I'll get Will to say it.
All right.
That make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
We good?
Yeah.
What's the matter, Cleaning Agent?
Nothing's the matter. I'm excited.
I'm excited. All right. I'm hoping this looks like I want it to. Hey, look, I can see you guys and the screen. I'm not going to try and do any quotes of any kind, but can you read the screen?
Yeah. I'd like if you'd read it out, though.
I will read it. I just not going to do like inflections or anything. You're
That would
ugly.
be help.
You're all ugly. And he was beautiful. He tried to bring something beautiful to your ugly world, and you shot him for it. I was going to do
recognize
this
it.
as part of the Quizly thing, and I was like, if it's multiple choice, it'll be way too easy.
Yeah. Definitely recognize the quote, but not
There's no points for getting it wrong, and you can still guess after the next one. You just get one guess per quote.
Mm-hmm.
It's tingling some bells.
That's what I like to hear. Anytime I can tingle your bells. Nothing from either of you. You want to move on to the next one?
I don't have
You are
it
allowed
yet.
to play in chat. I'm just hoping these guys don't read said chat.
Pass.
That's tempting. I'm going to have to cover up chat over here.
Well, that covered up you too, so that's kind of a win-win.
No, the camera's too close to
Wow.
chat. And if I move the paper the other way, then I can't read the main screen. It's no good. It's no good.
All right,
Okay,
quote number
prepared.
2.
I can't read, so all right.
Movie
here we
1, quote 2. That didn't work. Damn it. There we go. Oh no. Why, Johnny Tyler? Where are you going with that shotgun?
Oh man.
You're ugly.
I still don't have it.
Oh,
but I know I've seen this movie. Whatever it is, I know I've seen this movie.
go. Yeah.
Oh,
Next.
I would be shocked if you haven't, to be perfectly honest. You don't even want to throw out a guess.
I'm just trying not to read chat.
I mean, you want me to throw it a guess? Yeah, sure.
It doesn't hurt you at all to throw out a guess because you
Um,
can guess again on the next question. You can only just guess one time per. Like you can't just shout out 19 movies. That's all I'm trying to stop you from.
Right. Yeah, I can shout out one. 28 dresses.
That is incorrect.
All right. You're welcome.
You were close. You were really close.
I don't think so.
I got 2 guns, one for each of you.
Oh, I got this one.
Go for it.
Say your name.
Will. Sorry. This is, I want to say, Tombstone.
That is correct.
All
right.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well
knew
done.
it. I knew it.
Well played.
And then the
well
last
played.
one, just for the sake of it, I'm your
Your
Huckleberry.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Hey, fun fact. Some people believe in the script that he says, "I'm your Huckleberry," and a Huck. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's a thing on the side of the coffin that the pallbearers use to carry the coffin to the grave. And he's saying, "I'm your Huckleberry. I'll help carry you to the grave." But there is
Interesting.
also a thing in medieval times. They would adorn a sword with like huckleberries or something before the knights would go into battle, and he would like help the guy adorn his sword and be ready for combat. So it could have been either of those.
What you're
I've
saying
never put
is
that much thought into it. I thought it was just
they're a
him
good
saying he's
friend.
good to go.
Yeah.
All right, movie number 2. See
Here
how
we
this one
go.
goes. Maybe Will make a guess.
I made a guess.
That's fair. It was right on point. So, strategist. Well, that is
I got
one
it.
big
Will.
pile of shit.
I got
Jurassic
it.
Park.
Oh, damn it.
It is
Oh.
Jurassic Park for Will. Well done. I wasn't
Dang
sure if
it.
that was super obvious or if it was
That's
obscure
so
enough.
obvious. That's so obvious.
It's
I
obscure.
just watched Jurassic Park the other day too, so I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Oh man."
This one I thought was pretty obvious, but also like if you don't know, you don't know. Dodgson. We got Dodgson here. See, nobody cares.
I think that one is more obscure than the first, but yes,
Really?
it's definitely Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Okay. You
That's
spared no
that one's
expense.
very obvious as
Yeah.
well. I'd say that's
It-
definitely on
It's
par
supposed
with
to get more
Pile of
obvious as we go. Like by the time we
For
get
sure,
to the
for sure.
fourth one, it's supposed to be like, oh, damn it.
Is the fourth one Jurassic Park?
T-Rex doesn't
Yeah.
want to feed. He
I'm
wants to hunt.
surprised you didn't put "Hold On to Your Butts."
Yeah.
I was
Hold on to
seriously
your butts.
debating. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, maybe
it's
that's...
good.
All right, one piece. Let's go on to the next one.
All right.
You can't just go around killing people. Why?
Oh, I know this too.
I know
Brian,
this
was
one.
that-
This is Terminator 2.
It is Terminator 2.
Nice. Well played. Well
If I
played.
hadn't put the why, would you have gotten it?
I would've
think
gotten
so.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shoot. See, it's
Dang.
hard because like
In
have
fact,
no
in
one
my
to bounce
mind,
them
the
off
quote
of,
ends
right?
at people. Like, I don't remember Schwarzenegger asking why, so
Okay.
I would have got it without the why.
Yeah. You can't just go around killing people. Yeah. It's a
I know
kid,
why
right?
you cry, but it's something I can never do.
You got to do it with the accent, Dan.
Yeah.
I know why
I tried that one time with you and Doolum, and you made fun of me. So fuck you.
I know why
You got
cried.
one. Everybody gets one.
It's something I can never do.
I've never seen any of these movies. Ladder, how old are you? I'm hoping 28 dresses is an actual answer. Well, maybe next week.
Maybe next week. Spoiler alert.
This one I thought was pretty obvious, but I liked it anyways.
Yeah.
Your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Casting Arnold Schwarzenegger as a lifeless robot was the smartest thing anybody ever did, man. That was such the perfect role for him.
If you go back to the original one, like I know it's kind of cheesy and old at this point, but at the same time, like Arnold Schwarzenegger is a fucking terrifying villain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
Like
a
he
beast.
just doesn't stop. He just keeps coming. You're like, what? Oh, you can't even see it. Hasta la vista, baby. Obviously.
Hasta la vista, baby.
If you didn't get it by that point, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be back.
All right. Brian's in the lead with 2-1.
Well played, Brian.
You want to play blind man? Go ahead and walk with the shepherd. But me, my eyes are wide fucking open.
I get one guess per quote, right?
You get one guess per.
I don't think this is right, but I'm gonna say Fight Club.
It is not correct.
Okay.
You get a free guess. Will you want to go for it, or you want to move to the next one where he can guess again? 15. You are a child. Good God, ladder. Welcome.
I recognize that. I don't know what it is.
I'm certain I've seen this movie, but
Damn.
All right. Quote number 2.
Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction. It's not that.
It is Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah.
See,
Was that
I'm-
from chat?
No,
I'm
no.
getting
don't even
the
know
end
I
of
don't have chat up at all.
Okay.
in Fight Club at the end. He looks at Tyler and he says, "Tyler, my eyes are open."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's why I'm getting mixed up there. But yeah,
No,
Pulp Fiction.
I was
Okay.
I was like Shepard, Pulp Fiction, Samuel Jackson with
Yeah.
the speech at the beginning. That's what I just threw out a guess. I didn't know if it was right.
What
Oh,
ain't no
yeah,
country
this
I've
one
ever
would've
heard
given
of?
it to me for
They
sure.
speak English and what? I just love that quote.
It's good. It's good.
This one, I was like, if you don't fucking get it from this one, you're, well, maybe louder, like you're 12, but, and you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Classic.
Do you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
Mm-hmm.
All right. For all the marbles, you shall not have been mortally wounded in vain.
Oh, what?
Brian has his hand up.
Throwing a wild one out here, but this is this Monty Python?
Well,
There's a
it was
couple of Monty
Python.
Pythons. Can you be more specific?
I'm gonna go Holy Grail.
It is, in fact, Holy
Damn
Grail.
it! That was my guess too.
Yeah.
Immediately, I was like, "This is gonna be Monty Python."
You shall not
and
have
Holy
been
Grail.
mortally wounded in vain. I think I'm all right, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that you're gonna have "Tis but a flesh wound" eventually on this list of
I
quotes,
don't.
right?
I
What
don't.
Really?
What about knee?
Now go away, or I shall taunt you a second time.
The Frenchman.
I'm
Classic.
not fucking 12. You're close enough. Run away!
Run away.
He's
That
got
movie-
2 empty coconuts. He's banging them together.
So good.
There's
That
some
movie's
who
so
call me Tim,
good.
which is probably one of the best ad-libbed lines I can think of. As far as
That's-
just classic funny.
That movie's.
It was supposed to be a ridiculous name, and he couldn't think of it on set, and he's just like, Tim? Fantastic. All right, that's all I got. As I said, I wanted to do more, but I just kind of ran out of time. So,
No, that was
congratulations, Brian. 3-2. Well done.
Well played. Well played. The
All
champ
right.
is here. The champ is here.
It's like Nemesis is in the chat all of a sudden. Camelot is a silly place. Oh God, I think I know this. It's got, yeah. Haven't seen Pulp Fiction. Dingo, you're missing out. Actually, it's, I don't know. We can have a conversation about that later, but shall we move into the
We
show?
shall. Let us.
Do we have to?
Do
I know,
you-
right?
Do we have to?
Oh, this is gonna be a fun one, guys. I'm excited.
It's gonna be a rant video.
Will, do you have a thing for us?
Yeah, but you're not gonna like it.
You don't know that.
All right.
I'm legitimately curious to go over this with you guys. Like, mildly nervous, not gonna lie, but legitimately curious. Strange women laying in ponds and serving swords is no basis for a system of government. I was trying to think of that or something like get that exact quote, and I'm like, that's a little bit of a weird one. Anyways, I am blanking so hard right now.
We are filming a show
Yeah.
here called R Rating, and it's
Oh,
about
good
Alien
call, Green
Resurrection, from 1997. And you're gonna do the intro, and then you're gonna let me read a stupid blurb.
Brian, I'm going to put on 3 minutes of ads.
Oh shit!
simply because then it
Okay.
will not run ads at all throughout the entirety of the program. I don't know if you want to do something similar so that you don't get ads on your channel.
I don't even know how to run ads, like make them go or anything. I set ads for like the minimum on my stream, and because everybody's got turbo these days, and
Fair.
I don't know.
All right.
Run your ads. If you guys have
It
two
is.
pages open, you could
It's-
switch over to mine.
It's
to my
running
page.
right now.
We're in ads, folks, for 2 minutes
We're
and
in-
50 seconds.
We're in ads on Mongoolies, and
And everybody just left my chat to go to runs. Don't blame any of you whatsoever.
okay. So we have 3 minutes to vamp. Here's what you're saying.
Essentially.
Okay,
You were saying
yeah.
earlier before anybody got here that you saw Wolverine and Deadpool. Do you want to give them your thoughts again?
Okay, so I knew that Wolverine and Deadpool was going to be a cameo bonanza. I knew it was going to be kind of the finale to the trilogy of Deadpool, and that it was going to be Hugh Jackman's kind of sign off as the character for Wolverine. I kind of knew
Maybe.
everything that was coming. I didn't know the exact list of people that were going to show up. Gambit was a surprise for me. So was Elektra. I was not
Oh, that's
expecting
nice.
those two.
That's
I'm
nice.
shocked they were still surprising to you because, like, those have been like Gambit, especially, has been a fucking meme since he showed up. He's been on sweaters and stuff like
Well,
that. Like,
you know
oh,
what?
I'm about to make a name for myself.
I heard about Channing Tatum as Gambit, and I thought that was just a joke. And so when he actually appeared in the movie, I was like, "Oh, that's why there's so many memes of him." And I was not expecting it to be legit because in my opinion, he was a terrible Gambit.
I mean, I think
that's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
always
bad.
wanted to be Gambit, though.
He's wanted to be Gambit for a long time, and I'm
Gambit.
super happy for him. But
yeah,
no.
and I think they kind of mocked him for how bad it was in the movie, and so I was like,
exactly.
okay, let's get this out of our system and never do this again.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And then they also went after Cavell, right, as the role of Wolverine,
Yep.
and that was kind of funny. So there was some I appreciated that they just kind of they took all of the elephants and put them all there, and we got to laugh at all of it, and that was kind of entertaining. The movie was pretty basic, right? I mean, as far as the plot goes and everything, it wasn't anything. Some of the jokes, some of them were pretty funny. I found a few things that were humorous. And then there were just some cool fight scenes when they fight through all the Deadpools. That was a neat little cinematic thing. Just the Wolverine and Deadpool going at it in their little fights with the music pumped up over the top and everything. It was, it was what I came for, and I was happy with it. So it was a good movie. I'm glad I watched it. I wish I would have watched it sooner because then I would have been surprised when I saw Blade in there and all that stuff. So
yeah.
There was a couple of jokes in there, and I don't know what they are now, so don't like ask me to quote them. But there was a couple of jokes in there where I was like one of the only people laughing in the theater. Like they were just a little bit deeper cuts. And I was like, "That's fucking brilliant!"
Yeah,
and I had to like explain them to my wife afterwards. Like, well, this is what's going on with this, and like,
yeah,
he was in Blade Trinity, and him and Wesley Snipes didn't get along at all. Famously, they hated each other, and whatever. I don't remember what the joke was in the movie, but there was something along the lines of, "I can't believe he's here."
And like, he's like, and I'm the only Blade there's ever gonna be, and then it cuts over to Deadpool. He's like, sure.
Well, in fairness, I think they have canceled
Next
that movie or
replacement
shelved it indefinitely or something. So he wasn't wrong so far.
Yeah, we'll see.
But-
We'll see.
That was probably my favorite line in the whole movie, actually. My favorite character, actually, was Snipes.
Oh, yeah?
It was so funny. So funny.
I loved
that
him.
line was just on point. It was so good.
What was it? The Expendables 3 or something? He comes in and they break him out of jail, and they're like, "What'd you go in for?" And he looks dead into the camera. He goes, "Tax evasion." I was laughing so hard. That was fantastic.
That was funny.
Nice. Okay. We are back from ads. We won't get ads for hopefully the rest of the recording, which is lovely. So let's jump into this. If you guys are good.
I'm all jacked up on caffeine. Let's go.
I'm tired, but I'm ready and excited.
I'm tired. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Our Rating, the show where I get together with a couple of my friends. We take a movie franchise, break it down by movie, give it an overall score, and throw it on the board to see where it lands. Today, we're talking about the fourth Alien movie, Alien Resurrection, and we're going to see whether or not this one can bring the franchise back to life or kill it in its head for quite some time. We're joined today by Brian and Will as we get into this one. Will, do you have a synopsis for us?
Let's do it. 200 years after Ellen Ripley aborts the alien threat on humans, humans clone Ellen Ripley, and in turn, the threat of the aliens is reborn. Now, Ripley 8 must decide which species is the bigger threat and try to finish what Ripley OG tried to finish 200 years ago.
Fantastic.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's great.
That's pretty good.
Spot on. That's spot on.
Oh,
I run a quiz at the end of this, and I'm always like, okay, I got to make sure that we talk about these things in some capacity, and you just hit like 6 of them in one thing. I'm like, all right, cool, we're good.
just banging them out for you.
Appreciate you.
I just love that
Awesome.
you were able to work in abort.
Oh, man. All right.
So starting
was
this
great.
off, I have to ask, as we always do. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one, but like, Run, what is your history with Alien Resurrection? Do you remember the first time you saw it? Do you watch this one often? Do you watch it when you go through the Alien movies? Or do you stop at 3 or 2?
This was the second time I've seen this film, and I was really hoping that I would revisit it in a better light than the first because I didn't see it in a great light the first time. It's the movie in the franchise that I wish never existed. I wished, as much as we dug on Alien 3 last week, links in the description below,
Exclamation mark movies.
this one was able to dive underneath that low bar and have room to spare.
What about you, Will?
You know what? This one's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me, you guys.
We know it's bad if he likes it.
Yeah, I'm notorious for enjoying bad movies because
So
they're
does that
bad.
mean you've seen this one a bunch of times, or is this just like
I
you watched it
think-
and enjoyed it?
You know what? I may have seen this one just as many times as the OG.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and part of it is just like it was always on reruns on like TV and stuff, whereas the other ones I didn't find that to be the case, and so I think I just happened to see it more. And it's just such a hilarious movie that I just stop and watch it because it's funny to me.
Fair enough. There is a very real possibility that this is the first Alien movie I ever saw.
Perfect.
Because I was pretty late coming to the party on these ones. I don't remember when I first saw Alien 1 or Alien. So that's the only like wild card. Like I probably saw bits and pieces of 1 and 2 before this one, but like from beginning to end, this is the first one that I saw back in like 97, 98, whenever it came out on VHS. I can remember a buddy coming over and us playing like Mario Kart and watching this on a New Year's Eve or something like that. And I don't remember much of the plot from then, but like things like the alien melting the floor and that's how they escaped from the cage was something that I absolutely remembered from this franchise, as well as the aliens spitting. And so I kind of thought that was something they could just always do. And now going back through 1, 2, and 3, it's like they never spit. And in fact, it doesn't even make sense in this movie that happens. And we'll get to that later on, I'm sure. But it was just one of those like, it's so weird what was ingrained in me as part of the Alien franchise that isn't until like this movie, which is arguably one of the worst ones. The aliens swimming, again, they look far more animalistic, which is again how I think of the aliens. I don't think of them as standing upright on 2 legs and walking around like they do in Alien 1 and 2. I think of them as like kind of being more sleek and stylistic like that. So it's really interesting to go back to this and be like, oh, that's why I think this. Oh, that's why I think this, which was kind of interesting. That being said, I gotta say, I'm with Will on this one. I liked this way more than I liked Alien 3.
Whoa, wait. I didn't
You
say
said it was
like
a guilty pleasure.
more
Fair enough.
than Alien 3.
I'm putting words in your mouth. That's fair.
Yeah.
If you were here last week, or if you want to go back and check the VOD, I didn't like Alien 3 very much at all. I actually had a lot of fun with this movie. There are problems. There are a lot of problems. This is not a good movie, but it's a fun movie.
So, see, Steven in chat says the movie definitely doesn't take itself seriously, but I felt that they did try to take themselves seriously. Aside from maybe the general in the movie, he seemed a little bit just silly to me.
Yeah, he's a cartoon. He's a living cartoon.
Right.
Which one?
But
Genre?
the rest of the movie seemed like they were trying to take themselves seriously, and that's so for me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't just enjoy it as a dumb movie, as a bad movie, like with the what was it, the Predators. that movie did not take itself seriously. I think we can all agree on that. We talked about it. And so when I went back in, I took Will's advice and, don't take it seriously. Just enjoy it for a slapstick kind of movie. And I was able to enjoy it a little bit more. This one, I tried that knowing that it wasn't going to be something I enjoyed. And I couldn't. I was like, they're trying too hard. And they should have just made this a spoof of itself. Dan, what do you think about, do you really think they took them seriously? Like,
yeah. No, I think they took themselves relatively seriously, and I think they did it. I think they did it relatively well for what it is. Now you got to remember, this is 1997 when this movie came out, so the graphics are pretty decent for the time. I'm sure there's a little bit of CGI to touch things up, but it looked good. The aliens looked phenomenal. I thought I didn't have a problem with any one of them. The space scenes looked way better than Alien 3 did. You've got I lost the train of thought there just a little bit there. I will give you the military guys. General Perez was in a completely different movie. Like, he was being very cartoon villainy, whereas everybody else seemed like they were trying to be a bit more realistic and trying to play it a little bit more seriously. And I was pretty okay with it. Now, again, there are serious faults in this movie. But if you go along with it, if you go along with the ride, like, okay, so I've always said, I'll go along with whatever your premise is as long as you stick to your premise. I think the fact that they could clone Ripley 200 years later when she melted herself in iron in this like ridiculous nowhere backwards planet is crap. That doesn't make any sense. But that's the story they want to go with, so I'll go with them on that. And the fact that it took them 8 tries to get it right, I'm okay with that. Now, how did they get alien DNA to clone inside of her, and how did they make sure that it was a queen? That doesn't make any damn sense no matter how you look at it. I'm not sure how they got DNA in the first place, but I have no idea how they got alien queen DNA from like a hairbrush that Ripley touched once. That doesn't jive for me. And there's some other things we'll get into later that don't really jive. But if you're gonna say no, we live in the future, like the first movie is 300 years in the future, and this is 200 years beyond that. So we're like 500-600 years in the future from where we are right now. If you want to tell me that you can clone things from a single brush of hair, sure, I'll go with it. That's the rules you're putting forward. Let's run. So once you get past that, then you're working this kind of just a fun sci-fi romp where they're just running away from aliens. The humans feel powerful enough, as opposed to like in 1 and 3 where they don't have any weaponry whatsoever, but not as powerful in, say, 2 where they're like fully armed military guys. What do you think, Will?
I don't like any of what you just said. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, then we're in our normal place.
No, I actually agree with you. Alien 3, there's like out of nowhere an alien egg on the ship for no reason. That's the catalyst for the story to go forward. This one is, we got DNA from Ellen Ripley, and so just buy into it. We're cloning her, and so that DNA is in. Oh, did I freeze? Did I die?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
You're not dead.
All right.
You're good.
I'm not dead. I'm not Ellen Ripley. All right. So
you said Alien 3, there was an egg that appeared out of nowhere, and then in Resurrection they get DNA.
Yeah, they get DNA from the planet she was on when she was pregnant with an alien. So obviously alien DNA melds with human once it's inside of you, I guess. So you can just pull an egg out of them. Who cares? You just have to buy into that horrible concept. It is horrible. And then you just have to enjoy the ride. But the problem is like, it's not an enjoyable ride. It's just riddled with plot holes and horrible characters and things that don't make sense. They're breaking rules, which Dan hates. So there's like so many problems with the movie. And Ellen Ripley isn't Ellen Ripley. She's a clone, which it's fine. But I miss Ellen Ripley because she's the best character to come out of this whole franchise. Anyway, so there's a lot of problems, but there's a lot of fun.
I do like that they specifically say this is not Ellen Ripley. So the fact that she's playing a different character, you're kind of okay with, because this is not Alien Ripley. This is Alien Ripley / Alien. Mm-hmm. So she's a little bit faster. She's a little bit stronger. She's a little bit more aggressive. And you're kind of just like, okay, like if that's what you're going to put forward and say, is this character? Okay, let's go with it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's pretty. They do a good job of being like, oh, this is not the Ellen Ripley we know and love. Yeah. This is Sigourney Weaver playing a weird ass character, but because Sigourney Weaver is amazing, she's probably the best part of this movie. But you were saying that
Brian is so disappointed in this right
Brian was saying that this doesn't work. This didn't work out. And I don't disagree. I think the biggest problem with this movie came right from the beginning. We have Joss Whedon writing the script, and we all know how Joss Whedon writes. He writes lighthearted comedies about a bunch of people, usually a group of misfits, and they go on their merry way. And that was paired with this French director. What's his name?
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yeah, Jeunet, who's more of a surrealist director and much different take on scripts. So they just don't. I just don't think they meshed well at all, and so it became a train wreck quite quickly. But my personal thought is, I'm just not a huge Joss Whedon fan, for one, but I just don't really think his style of writing fits in to an alien universe. And so that's why you got a train wreck here.
That's totally fair.
I'll agree with that. The entire feel of this movie is completely separate from the entire franchise.
100%. This is like the parody movie. Like you said, The Predators was like a parody of the franchise. This was like a parody of the franchise, but it even got fucked up.
Okay, like it felt like a foreign-made film about the Alien franchise, and they just didn't have maybe the cultural context of it or something. Like it just felt completely different. One of the biggest things that really set this movie apart for me was the aesthetics. Right from the beginning, you had those opening sequences during the credit of all that sinew and hair and skin and tissue, and it was disgusting. And that theme of grossness was throughout this entire movie. It didn't feel like an alien movie. It felt like a disgusting monster movie. And they just utilized the alien name to do a monster movie. And they utilized Ellen Ripley's character to do a character with Sigourney Weaver, who was not Ellen Ripley, who just had an Ellen Ripley backstory, but she was completely different. She was given a different script to read that was a different character. And the excuse they used was that she was blended with alien DNA.
Yeah.
And throughout this entire movie, there was this disgusting, gross theme that went through it. It offended me because it was hard for me to watch. It made me nauseous right from the credits. That sinew and hair that we see throughout the whole thing. Then there's a sequence when she goes in and she finds 1 through 7, right? Lots of that to gross you out. I've never been grossed out in the franchise. That's never been the angle. It's always been jump scares, horror, suspense, aliens in the dark, right? Creepy, if anything, but it's never been disgusting. And this movie had a very disgusting aspect to it. That was the thing that bothered me the most.
The bishop scene in 3
Probably the closest
was
we've
pretty
come.
gross. Like,
yeah, that's
the
probably the
milk
closest
just
we've
constantly
come.
rolling into his eye was getting me. I don't like things in my eyes, and that was kind of just getting me. I'm like,
I'll give you that one.
This scene could end right now, please.
I'll give you that one. But the whole movie had this different aesthetic feel, this different light to it, the different texture, a different theme to it. Everything was just slightly adjacent to what this franchise has been so far.
Sure.
I
Now,
mean,
do you think that this is at its core a monster movie franchise? I mean, up until now, I think Prometheus kind of changes the script a little bit, but up until now, is that not what the Alien franchise is?
It's been a sci-fi alien scare movie for me. I mean, we started.
I feel like you're just using like slightly different terminology to say the same thing.
I've never felt the alien was a monster. It always felt like a creepy alien to me. It always felt like this very foreign thing where when I think of a monster movie, I think of a hulking beast, right?
Okay.
And in Alien, it was not. It was a very foreign thing that was invading into your space. I don't know. And then, of course, we go to a war drama in 2, and then in 3, they come back to some weird stuff too. But it's never been this monster movie. And at the end, when they give birth to the alien at the end, and it's just this abomination of both.
We're gonna get there. Don't you worry.
Oh yeah.
So I want to note a little bit too that I don't think Alien is a classic monster movie franchise, and that's why it has worked up until maybe now. Alien, the first movie, was the closest to a monster movie, but I'd say it's even more of a horror slasher film, because monster movies are more usually like jump scare, grotesque, like I don't know, like
we didn't see much in Alien.
You don't see a lot, right?
It was a suspense and thriller kind of scare you.
And then I feel Aliens again was more of a war action. And Alien 3, I feel, was more of a drama suspense because of the, rundown prison and these lifers who are trying to redeem themselves morally and get on the right path, whatever have you. And then also the dark, ending to Ripley's tragic story. And then Alien Resurrection comes through as like an action comedy. Like, I feel like it did take a different genre route. It just wasn't successful because I don't feel like it fits in as well as the other genres that were touched upon in the previous movies.
That's really interesting. I would argue, I didn't see as much of the comedy in this one. I think General Perez is a little off base.
You don't see the comedy in this movie?
I think there's unintentional comedy, but I don't think what was a comedic line? Like, what was a line you were like, that was clearly
Ripley's
a joke.
interaction with Paul, what's his face? The monkey-looking face guy?
Sure.
They're playing
Ron Perlman?
Ron Perlman. Sorry.
I was like, the monkey. He does act like a monkey in the
beginning. And I always look at him like he's anyway. She has that interaction with him playing basketball. The thieves guys, they're a little bit kind of, they got some sarcastic attitude.
Who are you expecting? Santa Claus? That's a comedic line, Dan, believe it or not.
Maybe not funny,
that's
but
fair.
It was
I don't remember that, but that's fair.
There's a lot of comedic lines in this movie. There's a lot of comedic sequences in this movie. Ellen Ripley
I would say there's far more comedic sequences in 2.
I disagree. 100% disagree.
Really? You don't think that Hicks is a way funnier character than anybody in this?
Hicks is a humorous character.
Yeah, humorous and entertaining, but I think this one tried for some kind of jokes and stuff like that. When the android's drinking the liquor or something, and she's like, "Oh, what is this? Battery acid or whatever?" They've got like these slight attempts to showcase how these people don't really take themselves seriously. Whereas in like Alien 2, you had the Marines who were interacting with each other
super seriously,
kind of joking around. I guess there's some similarities in both.
Let's be honest.
Okay, but wait. The whole crew is
all I need to know is where it is and how to kill it. A super serious line.
How about this? Guy with dual pistols pulling them out, ricocheting the bullets into the helmet.
That was dumb as shit.
That's a comedic scene. It's written comedically. That is comedy.
Okay.
Did it play? Well, there you go. That's the problem. It doesn't play. And that's maybe why you don't think it's a funny movie, because none of the jokes land. And that's why I find it funny.
I don't think that's funny. I think that they actually think I'm dumb enough to believe that you could make a shot like that. And I find it insulting. And
the bullet goes through a helmet that's meant to prevent bullets from entering the brain.
Most helmets aren't actually meant to prevent bullets so much as like shrapnel and such.
Maybe if they bounced it off of 5 walls and then hit the guy or something, where I absolutely know this is meant to be stupid. I felt like they were trying to really pull off that shot. And then he does it again later when he ricochets it off the wall and back and blows up the eggs for no reason. I'm like, you've got flamethrowers. Just set them all on fire and dunk back under the water. Why do you got to ricochet grenades around up there? It was just stupid. Everything that they did, maybe you thought it was funny, Clean. I just thought it was stupid. And I was insulted that I had to turn my brain off to enjoy this movie. And then even if I do turn my brain off and go, okay, whatever, Ricochet Rick over there is making all these crazy shots, I'm still grossed out by the aesthetics of it. I will say that the aliens themselves, when they weren't done swimming through the water, looked good. Even swimming through the water, they looked good for CGI.
Okay.
They looked okay in the water. It was definitely a CGI kind of thing, and whatever. There always dock points for that when it doesn't. I want to blend to CGI, not just have a CGI monster, but whatever.
100%.
I could have gone for the water being murkier so that you can see the aliens, you don't see them quite as clearly. But I thought that scene was okay.
Because when you use prosthetic aliens or animatronic aliens or whatever, they're always doing effects like shaky camera or steam or close-ups so that you don't see the wires, you don't see the rickety things moving. You hide things like that. I think they should do the same thing with CGI because they're just not good enough with CGI to fool me. And so, yeah, murkier water would have been appreciated. Make it hard for me to see so I know it's swimming through the water, but my imagination is doing 90% of the lifting on the shot. And I think it would have been way scarier because seeing them swim through the water was like, okay, that's a cool CGI shot of them. But my imagination is going to do better than anybody at a computer desk ever could.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair of almost literally every movie ever, though.
Well, I think every movie ever should start murking the waters on their CGI shots.
Hey, fun fact. They actually had to add milk to the water because when they were originally filming, it was too clear to actually tell they were in water. So they actually had to murky it up with milk. But they should have done more.
Yeah, fair.
Okay.
So we talked about... Go ahead,
Here's my sum up of this movie of how I felt, and I felt audiences like Brian felt about this movie, and it comes directly from the movie. At one point, Ripley 8 says, let me get this quote exactly here because it's so funny. She says, "Who do I have to fuck to get off of this boat?" And also, this is a comedic line, Dan, in case you're not aware.
I forgot to laugh at it too, but in retrospect, this is quite hilarious.
Cuts to Christy going like this. Like, so disbelief. Like, what did this person just say? His face...
I mean, that might have been me, too, in my chair.
His face says everything that every audience member was experienced while they watched this movie. Like, 100% watch it back. That's what everybody, I feel, was feeling.
I've got a question for Dan.
Sure.
Dan,
sorry, can I go with what Will just said?
Sure.
Okay, so that line really hit in a this is awkward way. Like, that was like, this doesn't feel like Ellen whatsoever. High Zero, Alien Resurrection. That didn't feel like Ellen Ripley whatsoever, that line. I felt very, very left field. And then I thought, okay, but in 3, her sleeping with the dude randomly also felt like it was pretty out of left field. So, what do we really know about Ellen Ripley? Maybe this kind of is, maybe she is, she lived actual Ellen Ripley was a miner on a ship out in the far middle of nowhere with 7 dudes and one other woman. Who knows what she's actually like? You know what I mean? Maybe. Also, this isn't actually real Ellen, so
yes.
I don't want to say I gave it a pass because I still was like, that was a dumb line, and that doesn't feel like something she should be saying.
Right.
But also,
would you
I don't know her that well, and I don't. This isn't her. So
line or a serious line.
Sure, it's comedic in nature, but you know what? We need to watch Ghostbusters together because I'd love for you to point out all the comedic lines in that one for me as well. Anyways,
wait, you don't find Ghostbusters funny?
Ghostbusters is hilarious. No, so you brought up Alien 3 and how Ripley's character seemed a little bit out of pace with Aliens. And now in Alien Resurrection, we have a drastic change to her character and how she acts. She's creepy. She's different, obviously, because she's blended with an alien. We now have Alien Ripley instead of Ellen Ripley. And so, Dan, in 3, we talked last time about how we were kind of offended that, or at least I for sure was, that they killed off a lot of the gains that Ellen Ripley made from Aliens. They just, in the first opening sequence, in flashes of light, they just destroy everything we gained in the first. It was almost disrespectful to the first film. And now in Alien Resurrection, I felt they took every aspect of the franchise and changed it by 5 degrees and gave it all a different slant. Ellen's personality is now different. She's not the same character. We have a different style of android that we find in it. Everything looks different. Everything's a different color, a different cinema style for the film. The aliens are now different in that they can spit. They act a little bit differently, although they're still in touch with some of the other canon, like books and stuff. But especially when we get to the birth of the alien, that's all different. Everything's a little different in this, and I felt it was kind of the same thing. It was disrespectful to the franchise to use all this and change it all in the way that they did. It didn't add anything to it. They weren't expanding it. They just changed it. Dan, did you feel that they were dissing on previous content, or do you think that they made changes that improved on this?
So I got 2 trains of thought on this. One, as I mentioned, this was my first Alien movie.
So this kind of started
in a lot
you
of
off
ways,
there, huh?
This is getting back to what they're supposed to be like.
Okay.
Like okay. First off, I have to say, like I'm defending this movie because it's more fun for me than if we're all just on the same page. I'm not saying this is a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I'm saying this is better than 3, but like
It
this
is
doesn't.
not.
I will say it is better than 3.
It is not better than 3.
It doesn't hold a candle to 1 or 2, and it is not a good movie. Let's just make sure that's 100% clear for you guys, for the audience, whoever needs it.
Okay.
That being said, all right, let's go through your points one by one. We know it's not Ripley because that's what they say at the very beginning. Ripley died. Yeah. They wanted to bring her back. They wanted to have Ellen.
But as far as a plot point, changing her in this way, did that bother you?
That didn't bother me.
Not really.
It's a different character. It's a different character entirely. You immediately know she is not Ripley of the 3 past movies. This is Ripley 8. This is a clone, and there is something completely different about this person. Yeah. It is a different, and I believe it's actually a good thing in this movie because it makes this character, Sigourney Weaver's character, feel more like a drone, outcast, no place, no home, nothing. So I actually kind of liked that, even though it wasn't really well done. But I didn't mind at all that this was not the Ellen Ripley we know and love, because I loved the Ellen Ripley we know and love, and I accepted her death in the 3rd superior movie to this.
So I would say that it's kind of like, going back a second, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2. Like, you get the same actor theoretically playing the same role, but it is not. Like, they're both Terminators. They're both sent from the future. They're both played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they are vastly different characters. Now, that's maybe not the greatest example because they're both robots.
I disagree. I think that is the exact same character assigned to a different task.
I agree with that.
It's the exact same character.
I feel the robot element kind of throws your...
That might not be the best example.
Yeah, metaphor off of it a little bit there, but yeah. I understand what you're saying.
In the same kind of way, where they're like, here's the exact same actor playing the same role, but this is why it's different. You go, okay, this is why it's different, and you move on with your life.
Well, in your depiction of Terminator to Terminator 2, which is head and shoulders over Alien Resurrection.
Oh, 100%. I'm not arguing that one right now.
We're comparing apples to shoes here. I think that they took a character and put it in a different situation and made it very interesting, and I enjoyed that. And I feel like they took Ripley's character, threw it out the window, and just had Sigourney Weaver be in this one and gave it a new character and a whole new character. I don't like where they went with it. I don't like what they did with it. I don't think that they should have done Ripley. I think that they should have found a different way to introduce the aliens back into the story. Just on I don't want to give anything away here, but show of hands, how many of you have seen Romulus? I'm just curious. Has anybody seen Romulus here? Nope. Okay.
No, we'll talk about it. Give it till January, but we'll get there.
We'll talk about it. Anyway, back to great ways to bring the alien back into the story. I hated this movie from start to finish. The way that they brought these characters, I felt like they crapped on everything I liked about the franchise. I didn't like the direction they were trying. They didn't pull it off well. I found it offensive. I found it offensive to me as a viewer. Will was able to find it funny and humorous. I just found like they were treating me like I was stupid. So maybe that's because I love this franchise too much.
So, out of curiosity, you talk about Alien 3 and how they took everything away from Ellen, right?
Yep.
So in Alien 1, she's trying to get back home to her daughter because she has to go back and celebrate her, 11th birthday or something like that? She's supposed to go back and celebrate that. And then in Alien 2, we find out that her daughter just passed away at the age of 86 or something. I don't remember the exact age, but just go with me on that one.
That's right. And they gave it some homage.
Shut up and let me talk for 10 seconds. So we start off Alien 2 where she's lost her daughter and pretty much the biggest thing that matters to her. Then in Alien 2, we gain potentially a love interest. We gain a new surrogate daughter. And then at the beginning of Alien 3, she loses both of those. The beginning of this movie is 200 years later. She's died. Her surrogate daughter has died. The person she loved has died. Her actual daughter has died. Assuming she had a husband, it's died. And we're left with an Ellen Ripley who is
not
uncaring, unfeeling, and just like, whatever, the world can burn. Doesn't that make sense for that character at that point? She has lost everything. And it's not like, I can just go back to like my old home. Everything is gone.
It makes sense for that character. I just hate that they did it this way. Why not just recast a new character? It felt like they paid $20 million to Sigourney Weaver to star in an entirely new movie, and they just used the franchise's name and the character's name, and that was it. They should have just done a different movie, and they could have saved some money if they, I
haven't seen Prometheus in a long time. We'll get to that in a little bit. You're more familiar with this franchise than I am. My apologies, the engineers, is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They create this alien franchise, the alien species, right?
They don't necessarily create the alien species. They create an ooze.
Do they exist anywhere else? Or were they on that one spaceship that crashed and got nuked?
I don't know.
The engineers?
No, the aliens, the xenomorphs.
The xenomorphs are specific to the goo interacting with our human DNA, not the engineer's human DNA. We go full circle later. Yeah. But
up until this point, we've only seen them on that one spaceship. Humanity has never interacted with them with any other capacity. There's been no lines of dialogue of how we could possibly get there. Now, obviously, like they created cloning for this when they could create something.
In the franchise, we only know of the engineers as that one fossilized dude in the big chair.
Sure.
And the eggs were beneath him in his spaceship. The spaceship was on LV-426. And that's all we know in the franchise up to this point.
Right.
Okay. As far as the other things you're mentioning, the androids are different. That makes sense. It's 200 years later. The ship looks different. Again, that makes sense. It's 200 years later. Think of how much cars have changed in your lifetime. You're 40 years old.
I don't.
Wow.
No,
imagine over 200
you're misunderstanding. I don't disagree with how they went about it. All of that makes sense. Ellen Ripley's character changes. All of this makes sense, and they wrote it into the plot. I just hate the way they did it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. I can't change your mind about how you feel. I'm just saying, like it's not super left field for me.
Everything that was cool has been changed drastically. 200 years of evolution changed drastically, and they didn't build on anything. They just destroyed it all and rewrote it all, and they used the name of the franchise, and they used Sigourney Weaver as an actress, and they built something that was different from what I liked and enjoyed. And they made it disgusting with this bone and sinew and hair, grossness everywhere, the mutations and stuff. And it just grossed me out. I didn't like where they went with this. And the acting sucked and the story was stupid. They could have, you're going to see how they could do this movie way better.
I mean, in fairness, like you could say that about 3 as well. Like
three could have been done better. And like we said, we think this was too many hands in the pot, too many people in the kitchen trying to make that work. I can appreciate what they tried to do. I can appreciate the things that they tried to do. They were unable to do it successfully. But I can see the relations from Alien 3 back to Alien, the first movie, trying to bring in these themes that would scare you and make you feel claustrophobic and make you afraid of the people that surrounded you and all the things. And they were trying to relate to different aspects of things in the franchise. This one just took the actress, took the name brand, and ran with it. And it was disgusting.
So, Brian, fun fact, one of Whedon's initial scripts had Newt's DNA be the one cloned from the third movie, and
Makes more
Ripley
sense.
was never going to be in the movie.
Would have enjoyed it more.
But guess what? Ripley and the production company saw the script and was like, this is great, but let's get Ripley in this because that will really sell it. So you're not wrong.
You're probably not wrong. It probably did sell more tickets having Ripley.
100%.
Right.
But that maybe would have played a little bit more to your appeal of the franchise than bringing Ripley back just for Ripley's sake.
I think I could have enjoyed it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
felt
it's
like
still trash.
I felt like putting Ellen Ripley, I felt like putting Sigourney Weaver on the poster was a dirty trick to get me to go in and hope for what we've seen in previous movies and hope to get back to Alien or Alien 2 after the travesty that was 3. Instead, they kicked me while I was down and fed me this dog shit movie, which was just gross. And it wasn't what I've wanted. Now,
I do want to ask you, sorry, do you have something?
I was going to say we've seen in Alien Isolation, the game, they have an interesting way of getting the alien back and making an interesting story out of it, which I wish they would have made a movie out of the video game. It's a real good time. You know, they had somebody go back to the crash site of the Nostromo.
I haven't made it that far.
Spoiler! No,
it's
whatever.
Actually, you should have. It's like in the opening sequence of the game. They talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody finds the black box to the Nostromo.
The black box, yeah.
And they use that flight data to go find LV-426.
Okay.
And they make a whole big story out of this. And that was an interesting way. Like, hey, there's something that logically could happen, and I don't have to stretch to go for it. And then you can make any kind of story you want. But instead, they wanted to give birth to that human alien thing and suck it out a window, which was probably the most gruesome death I've ever seen in cinema.
Yeah,
and it was.
We just did the Evil Dead franchise. This is nowhere close.
Honestly, it was on par with Evil Dead. Like, it was really disgusting to watch that thing get sucked out the hole the size of a quarter.
Yeah, it was also sad because, like, grandma was watching the granddaughter just go out the window like that, you know? Family just fleeting away, you know?
And Sigourney
slipping through your fingers.
Yeah, oh, God. It's just, no.
Okay.
No.
Before we get to there, because we're definitely going to get to there. Aliens cannot, up until this point, spit acid, right?
Well, we don't know that.
Just introduced, but we've never. Okay, so earlier in the movie, there was I really liked it. A cool scene where they've got 3 aliens trapped inside of a room.
I liked it too for all the different reasons.
And the 2 aliens turned on the weaker one to escape from the pen. That felt like something animals would do in captivity. Like, if there was a way out, I can absolutely see them turning on the weaker one and attacking it.
I love also that they have a conversation before they do it. They're like,
Dan, if we all had acid blood, if we all had acid blood, Dan, you and me we'll just go ahead and take Will out.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes the most sense. So they did that, and I was like, that's really cool.
I know they're going to go for me, chat.
He's making the lines quick. I like it. I thought that was a really cool scene. I get that they were communicating with each other, and if that made you laugh, then so be it. I can't argue with that. But I thought that was a cool scene until the alien spit acid later on and be like, oh, if they can just do that, what on earth was the point? To all 3 of them shoot the door, and then ta-da, we move on with life.
I can explain that away if you want. If
I would love it.
Terrible movie. Their acid on the man's face barely damaged him, to be honest, compared to their bodily fluid melting through multiple hulls of a ship. These aliens,
but okay, fair.
These aliens just start spitting like they're going spitooning. The scientists, however dumb they are going to realize, oh, wait, what are these guys doing? Oh, well, let's see. Oh, well, shit, they're going to melt through the floor. All right, send it in. Let's freeze them out. And end of Alien. So these aliens had a discussion, be like, "We got to get out of here." Oh yeah, how are we gonna do it? Well, we could. I got some spit going. We could brew it out. No, we need to empty your whole tank, bro. And then they're like, "All right, let's go." That's how it played out. Those were the scripted lines. I looked it up, and and so it still makes sense that they can spit acid and had to gut one of the aliens to get free.
I'll go
enough.
with you, but I was
Honestly,
sure.
I enjoyed that sequence. That was one of the better sequences in the movie. He puts his hand over the button, showing that these are intelligent creatures. They're figuring things out.
Yeah.
It was cool. That was
They're
all
like
right. I didn't have a
velociraptors.
problem with that.
All right, fair enough. I liked that scene. I thought that was cool. And then when they spit acid, I was like, sure.
They later put acid spitters into the franchise as canon, and they can some of the aliens can now spit acid.
Perfect.
And if that's
The
the
other-
way the alien race goes, I'm actually fine with that. Give
Here's
them
the
a
other
ranged
thing.
weapon.
Again, these are cloned aliens with more human DNA maybe than usual. So maybe they have different attributes, just like an alien that bred with the dog had different attributes. Who knows what this cloning process did? We saw a lot of weird cloning shit in this movie, so it can change their attributes however we want. I don't think we've ever seen the webbed hands before this, have we?
No, I don't think so.
So, hey.
Out of
anything you wanna
curiosity,
do?
where did the 7 or 8 or 12 eggs come from? Those came from the queen, right?
I assume so.
But then why does the queen have a womb that creates a hybrid?
More
She-
Like,
human
how does she
DNA.
do both?
Because Ripley's gift to her was a third cycle in her evolution where she lays eggs and then
does she?
she reaches, I don't know, menopause and has a human baby, or I don't know what it is, but
Explain it, or
later
you
the
making bullshit
queen
up on the spot.
gives birth. And what I don't get is, why does this thing pop out of disgustingly, by the way, everything in this movie happens disgustingly. Why does this alien come out of this disgusting womb and then rip its mother's face off and then go cuddle up with Sigourney Weaver? Why? That doesn't even make any sense at all. Okay.
I agree.
Baby bird book that I read to my kids, and the bird figures out that the tractor is not its mother. Okay. How does this stupid creature think that Sigourney Weaver is its mom? I don't know.
Oh man, that's so
Okay.
funny.
Okay, so out of curiosity, I just want to clarify something, because like I agree with you. Everything you just said is weird and stupid. Are we supposed to feel some amount of sympathy for the weird Frankenstein's monster style alien, the hybrid?
Fuck no. I think it was just one more aspect to gross us out on an emotional level at that
Really?
point.
Okay, because like he definitely had very sad, sullen eyes.
Sad
I was
eyes.
kind of getting the impression that like when he was killing, he was definitely not killing Ellen, and he didn't want to kill Cell and Annabelle, whatever, the Winona Ryder's character.
Paul.
Sure. But he killed the other person pretty easily, like no complaints. Was that a I don't know my own strength? Was that a you're a threat? Like, I was getting vibes that you are supposed to care about this thing to some capacity.
I think that what they were trying to showcase was that the alien now had human-like emotions. That's all that was supposed to do, is show us that now they are not just instinctual, but they have emotions, and this alien human hybrid is fucking psychotic. That's what we were supposed to learn. This was like the serial killer born with alien half-blood DNA kind of thing. This was an abomination in every sense of the word, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of it. It's just a total abomination, and we're supposed to be grossed out by every thought, its appearance and its emotional state. And that's just what I got from that. They certainly made me horrified and disgusted at this thing, but I was also offended
Really?
because
I haven't really got that vibe from you yet, Run.
can't say it up. This movie grosses me out. It's hard for me to watch.
I would love to hear Will's thoughts on this, because I think he's a little less emotionally connected to the franchise.
I mean, yes, I agree with Run 7 on this. I think this movie is so much darker than the third movie. The third movie is dark, man. They kill her family right out the get, and it just goes downhill from there, where she has to literally sacrifice her life for the good of humanity. It's dark, and this movie goes darker.
Goes darker. Yeah.
Only it's camouflaged in humor and bad direction and
more bad direction and humor. But yeah,
I'll go the other way actually. But you both are totally legit answers. I think it's just camouflaged between all these horrible things that are not horrible, poorly executed elements of this movie that people don't see that. I think this is truly a much darker picture in comparison to the third movie.
If you were to watch Alien 3, and I'm asking legitimately, I don't know if you can. Thank you. If you were to watch Alien 3 and it was the only Alien movie you've ever seen, or you were to watch Alien Resurrection, it was the only Alien movie you've ever seen, which one do you think would make more sense contextually?
Okay, what are my choices? Alien Resurrection or
3, but you've never seen any other Alien movie. I feel like Resurrection might be a more complete experience. As silly and as stupid as it is.
Honestly, when you frame it like that, yeah, maybe. But two entirely different experiences.
Oh, for sure.
3 is relying on us having a preconceived notion of the character that we're getting in Ellen Ripley, and then also kind of just like forgetting the fact that she just lost what has become her only family in the first opening sequence, and she's relatively okay with it. She treats that much the way you would treat a hangover, and then you go on and you have you kind of go on this preconceived notion of Ellen Ripley, whereas this one is creating a new character who Sigourney Weaver plays.
Yeah, I agree, because 3 is actually attached to the trilogy, whereas I feel this movie is detached from the other movies.
Honestly,
so
Resurrection is a bad term for it.
Yeah, it should be called Alien.
Well, it's because she comes back from the dead. Like it's
no, for sure.
It should be called Alien Abomination. I mean,
I wouldn't be sad about that.
Like honestly, if they titled it Alien Abomination, I would be like, okay, they're going to use the franchise and just gross me out with it. And that's what it is. I mean, they did have an abomination of the alien that was melded because of this idea of genetic tampering. And we're going to see in several future movies, genetic tampering with the alien virus, treating it as a virus. And we start broadening our horizon of the entire franchise, but in a much better way than this movie was able to pull off. This movie wanted to broaden our horizon and treat the alien as a virus. They totally missed that virus thing, and they just got into the gross mutations.
I mean, that virus thing may not have been fully fleshed out at this time, right? Like we can't fault this movie for things that may not have been canon at the time.
Yeah, I don't know what because I'm unfamiliar with the timeline and things. What was going on, the side stories and ideas.
Balance, yeah.
I mean, this may have been what tipped the scale for future movies, and like, oh, see what you were trying, but we got to do better. And then they come in and reset with Prometheus.
That could be because this is the farthest in the timeline any Alien movie has gone, and maybe nobody wanted to touch it because it was such a shit show, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, let's go back closer to where the source good movies are and play around in there for a while.
If theoretically the aliens only existed on that one spaceship, again, I don't know. We'll get there.
Right.
If they only exist on that spaceship, they only exist on this ship 200 years in the future, right? Like there's 200 years where there's no xenomorphs in the galaxy based on what we're seeing in these first 4 movies.
Right.
So kind of like they're not only bringing Ellen back, they are bringing back the xenomorphs. Like they were an extinct species as far as we knew, and they're coming. Anyways, I'm taking the opposite side on this one because I really enjoy the debate. I've actually had a ton of fun recording this episode so far. It's not like I think this is a great movie. I just enjoy the conversation. I know. It's great seeing Brian get heated. Is the Earth? And they mentioned Earth going to Earth, which they got there really fast for how slow they seem to be going. Is the Earth a desolate wasteland, or is it still inhabited? because the explosion at the end definitely triggered a nuclear winter.
You got that too. They nuke like a third of the hemisphere.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Like,
huge. It was huge.
Right into, I think that was Africa. They just wiped all of Africa off the map.
That dust
And they're
cloud's taken most of us out.
We saved humanity. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Did
at
ya?
what cost? Like,
Okay, so funny
Let's not
story.
read into that one too deep.
There was a special cut of this movie as well, where the intro of the movie was different and the ending of the movie was different. And the ending of the movie was much more like Army of Darkness director's cut, where
Okay.
they actually show them on Earth, Paris, surprise, surprise, French director, and it is obliterated.
Okay. I did see that there was a special edition of this movie, and I looked into it, and they're like, this is absolutely not a director's cut, because the director says the theatrical is the preferred version of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
if it's good enough for the director, it's good enough for me. So I just watched the regular one on Disney. But
It really didn't add a lot at all in this one
Yeah.
specifically.
So
whereas
in
this
this
others
one, it was
it has
mostly
added.
beginning, end, and a different conversation with Perez and
Yeah,
Ripley.
slight, very slight, yeah.
So this isn't spoiling anything because none of us know any more than the trailer that's out. But we do have the new series coming to Hulu, Alien Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when that takes place. I don't know if that's 250 years in the future, 300 years, however many years in the future after Alien Resurrection, or does that take place a little closer to home? Like, is that somewhere in between Alien and Aliens, like Isolation takes place? We don't know, but I am presuming that the alien species, if it makes its way to Earth sometime before Alien Resurrection, that most people want to pretend that this movie doesn't exist.
Okay, so there's two things I'm going to say on that, because Alien versus Predator is not canon in the Alien universe.
That is correct.
But from what I remember from those movies, they take place on Earth, and there's a whole lot of aliens in the Antarctic or something. So they could go that route, although I pray desperately they do not.
Yeah, I kind of hope
But
they just keep it clean.
Jokingly, how funny would it be if the series took place 199 years in the future, and the series finale is them getting nuked from this planet, this ship crashing into them, and that's the end of the show. It's just like, oh, they tied it all together.
I don't know. It depends on how many seasons, how popular it is. They'll make it a couple of seasons, and then I don't know. I hope Alien Earth is a more subtle look into the franchise. I hope that they aren't just going for action and aliens. I hope they're going to develop characters. They're going to have interesting plots. They're going to get into like the politics of keeping the alien a secret or exploiting it as a weapon, and that there's just little tidbits of the aliens actually in it. And we get substantial characters that we can really latch onto is my hope for it. Because we've already seen a lot of good aspects in this, with Aliens being a big war drama, with Alien being a scary thriller, with some other movies that tried some themes that didn't really work. And I'm interested in some character building at this point. I'm interested in seeing more about Wayland Yutani. I want to know more about the Yutani aspects of Wayland, because we've seen Bishop Wayland. There's other things that I want to explore in this world, and I don't need droves of aliens popping out. So I've got high hopes for that series.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that later, maybe after the episode or something. But I definitely have thoughts on what I'm hoping that shows. I haven't actually watched the trailer yet. Anyways, back to Alien Resurrection. One of the last things that I just want to touch on really quickly, and it'll probably be very, very short. Is anybody else completely 100% over the android revelation halfway through the movie that somebody in the cast is an android? Because I'm so freaking done with that.
Yeah.
Like, can we? I really hope. I know I think it's David in Prometheus. But I think he's an android
right from the jump. David's. Yeah,
I'd be very okay with that. But like, this whole like, oh, you got shot, you must be dead. What? You're an android? Oh, come on. Like, I don't remember that. But at the same time, the second I saw her, she's like, oh, she's an android. Like,
I was more surprised she found like a 30-second way to get where they wanted to go 10 minutes ago after she got shot.
Yeah. She like swam backwards and climbed around the spaceship and opens the door, and I'm like,
found a much easier way without an alien devised trap.
That bothered me.
And she was just like, here I am. Let's go.
Should have just listened to me.
Would have
Even though I
been
didn't say
much more
anything.
entertaining had they explored the idea of her just being an android from the jump. I would have liked, she's a special android, a droid built by droids or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated it had they just allowed that theme to grow in the movie from the start, and you can compare her being not human to Ripley being not
Agreed.
quite human right from the get-go.
Both outcasts.
Yeah.
I
Would've been
also
way better.
see there's so many things in this movie that like almost are cool. The android Call, is like the most humane person in this movie. This movie is filled with inhumane people. The whole military experimental ship they're on are all like, we are gonna fucking meld aliens and humans, and we're gonna make an army, and this is gonna be great. The pirates that jump on ship are literally stealing people in cryosleep to sell them for a glass of whiskey and a warm night's sleep. And there's like zero likable characters. Ripley 8 is like this half alien, half human, just like not knowing who they want to be on the side of. So it's like there's no likable people except for Call is the only like, I need to do what's right for humanity, and that's kill Ripley before these aliens. Oh wait, there's aliens everywhere. Oh, that's not good. We got to blow this place up. Oh wait, we found this dude who still has an alien in their chest. Let's bring him along. That's fine. He's got an alien.
Yeah.
We'll bring him along. I'm down for that. Even their character fully wasn't.
And we don't even know what
everything
we as
about
the
that
viewer
guy
like
made no sense.
Ellen Ripley, right?
No,
like it takes us a while to understand whether we like Ellen Ripley or not. Like at first we're like, oh yeah, we gotta like her, and then she's all weird and part alien, and then later she decides to go for Team Humanity, and I'm like, okay, I guess that you're on our side.
Yeah, but like just what I'm trying to get at is I like the idea of Call. I don't like that they reveal how they reveal, I'm a droid, just like every movie. But I enjoyed their reason for this movie in being in the movie, and I enjoyed that the droids become the most humane thing because they've always strived to be human, and humans are like are gone, right? So there's elements of this movie I like. Execution, hilarious.
I liked when the general rolled the grenade down into the escape pod. When he saw the alien go in, and then he gives his men the salute. It's so cheesy.
The funniest part is he rolls it. The doors close. He has no idea if it made it into the ship or not, and then he's just like, I think I got it. Boom!
Yeah. Yeah, and then he gives a salute, and he reaches back and pulls like a piece of his skull off, and he looks at it.
That lasted way too long.
So
that
good.
I found humorous because it was so cheesy and just ridiculous. It was so far ridiculous. I found that to be humorous and stupid in a way that I could just laugh at because it was just so over the top at that point. But there were other things that I felt like I was supposed to take as a serious thing, and I'm like, I'm just not that. I just can't. I can't take that as what they were feeding me.
Yeah. The you mentioned it, and I did want to go back to it. I don't know, the smugglers, I guess we'll call them.
Yeah.
How they were like kidnapping
pirates.
people in their tube, bringing them to where they needed to this station, selling them off. But then all of a sudden, one of them is awake and has an alien living inside of it. And they're like, all right, we'll take this guy back with us. We'll be safe. You're like,
amazing.
Ron Perlman should have shot that guy in the face the second he saw him.
Yeah.
Just like, no, we don't care about you. We care about self-preservation. We're not bringing one of these things on our ship willingly. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That should have happened instantly. But then when they do bring him back to the ship and he ultimately turns and like runs straight at the guy who's shooting him like 18 times, and for some reason those bullets don't do anything to him, and he runs out and grabs the guy and like the chest burster goes through his head. I'm like, okay.
That's called comedy, Dan.
Was that
100%.
Was that the
bad.
only
It's
reason
dumb.
for that guy so that we could have that crazy death sequence?
Yes,
Like
100%.
I don't see. You're saying some things are comedy like that, and like the shooting the bullet and ricocheting it. I think those are stupid, but I think somebody somewhere thought those were badass. I don't think that they wrote those in thinking that's funny.
I don't find them as funny. I find it as
I think they're funny because they're so stupid, but I think somebody somewhere was like, this will be cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if there was more actual comedy, more slapstick comedy in this, if there were characters who were intentionally silly, who are surviving when they shouldn't be surviving, or something like a Bill and Ted kind of characters or something, then stuff like that becomes funny for me to watch. But I didn't have any characters like that. I didn't have any scripting like that. I felt like somebody was trying to make this serious, and it was just stupid. It's like when you see the transporter jump his car upside down, hit the hook from the crane, and it knocks the bomb off the bottom of his car, and then he lands on 4 wheels and drives away. And I'm like, that's impossible. I can't go with that. I can't. Yeah. I want to believe the impossible. I want to see a movie like The Matrix where I'm watching it and I'm going, oh yeah, these guys are dodging bullets and it makes sense to me because they're in the Matrix and that's how it works. It's a thing that makes sense.
You didn't like the aliens dodging bullets? Weird.
Aliens dodging bullets?
Yeah, when they're on the ladder. What is it? Charlie or something?
He goes over backwards
and the alien's just like on the ladder dodging the bullets.
Well, again, that doesn't make sense, and it's stupid to me. Make sense. Make me believe it. Make me believe the unbelievable, and I'm having a good time. Okay? Jurassic Park made me actually walk away from that movie and think that someday dinosaurs could walk the earth. And to this day, I'm sitting here thinking, let's go collect mosquitoes, because I think that could happen. They made me believe the unbelievable. This movie just made me feel stupid for giving it a chance.
Oh, yeah, it's stupid.
All right, well, let's call that and roll into our final scores, because I don't know, we're probably just going to start repeating ourselves after this.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much know where we're all going to land, but Brian, I'm going to start with you, if you don't mind.
Okay, this is the lowest score of any movie I've ever given on this series. I thought the plot was atrocious. I know for a fact there are better ways to get stories out of this franchise, regardless of where you are in the timeline. The acting was not great in this movie. Maybe I'm giving the acting a bad score because I was expecting one thing and I got something completely different. But most of the characters, I thought, didn't do a great job of being who they should be. Maybe they were given bad lines. I don't know. I think maybe that has to do with the direction of this movie, which I thought was atrocious. It wasn't what I wanted in this franchise. I did think that the aliens looked good. I thought that some of the effects looked pretty cool. I wasn't a fan of the cinematography. I wasn't a fan of the lighting of the themes of the movie that they used going through the tunnels. I hate it when we see like a military spaceship that looks like a dark, cavernous thing. I'm like, why can't we just have lights in the hallways? Like, why does everything have to be so ridiculous? But we've seen that in Alien 1, so I'm going to give it some room on there. The music didn't do anything for me. In fact, some of the sound effects and some of the scoring was a little too over the top, kind of took me out of it a little bit, gave it a lower score for that. Does this movie hold up? Hell no. This movie is cheesy and lame and makes me feel bad. I watched it for the second time and I felt even worse about it than when I saw it the first time. And I really went into it with an open mind, especially with newer content coming out. As we go into the franchise, we see how this was done so poorly. It just gets worse and worse as this franchise goes on. This is and should be the aborted stepchild of the franchise. It's disgusting and horrible. Did I have any fun? No. From the opening sequence, the disgusting sinew and hair themes, the disgusting mutation themes, the slime, the way that they took Geiger's work and mutated it slightly, everything being changed just really offended me as I watched this movie. The fun score just almost flatlining for me. I gave this, and I'm being very generous as I possibly can here, I'm giving this a 34 out of 100.
That's pretty brutal.
It's a great score, Run.
I'm totally fine with the score because you've been passionate about this the entire way along. It makes complete sense.
I thought it would be lower.
Honestly,
it is still higher than almost your entire Highlander franchise. So it is not the lowest score you've ever given.
I almost flatlined it for the special effects because they use such gross stuff in it. But they did have some good points where they showed the aliens. So I gave it a few more points back there. That actually brought my score up to a 34. And
Okay, now I'm going to cut this part out. I have to ask, why does this movie gross you so much when a lot of the things in the Evil Dead franchise you were praising? And I know you weren't like super happy with Evil Dead franchise,
well,
but like,
because
why is this so much worse for you?
the Evil Dead franchise was started out as a horror franchise that was supposed to be gory, right? We ended up getting into some comedy there, the splatter laugh fest, whatever Will calls it, I forget.
Yeah.
But
Splat
this is supposed to be a science fiction scare thriller, whatever. It's evolved through its editions, but it's never gone into this disgusting horror.
Mhm.
And this reminds me of like a Rob Zombie film or something where they're just showing you the grossest stuff they possibly can. When she goes into that room and sees Ripley's 1 through 7,
Yeah.
ugh. And it's on the table. It's like, kill me. And she sets it on fire and blows it all up and everything.
Just the
and I'm
worst way to
like,
die, too, just burning
Oh,
alive.
that's
you
what I was
burn
saying.
her?
Like,
give her a bullet in
just
the
shoot
head
her
first.
one bullet.
Yeah, one bullet first, please.
Comedy, baby.
And, you know, I'm not a big fan of hair and sinew, if you haven't noticed.
You've
right?
said those 2 words specifically more than
I
I've
mean,
ever
I
heard.
feel like
Right.
you are a fan. You've said it
right
a dozen
from
times.
the credits, it's all over. And I'm watching it the second time around after watching all these in consecutive order, and I'm like, this is so different from anything in the franchise that we've seen. It's so different from what we've seen.
100%. I don't disagree with. I see why Run like
You wanna
Evil
just roll this
Dead.
into your thing?
No, not
Okay.
at all. Evil Dead was touted as the goriest, bloodiest horror movie of all time, right? You know what you're getting going in. Alien was never that. Alien had a lot of the kills off screen. You know, you'd get nabbed or you'd see like a shot of the death, but not the gore of the death. Whereas this lays it all on the table and just lets you go to town with it. Which is a choice, which whether you like it or not is Ren doesn't like that. That's fine. But it is a different genre choice, which has been successful in the previous 3 iterations, choosing a different genre. In this one, I feel it doesn't work out. I feel it was too far a push in that direction for it to work. And I can totally relate why Brian is grossed out by this, because it's not a typical Alien movie. Now, do you want me to go into my rating?
I would love it.
All right, let's wrap this puppy up. All right, is this a good movie? Absolutely not. Do I enjoy some of the story elements? Yeah, I think there's some good ideas in this movie. I think they expand on some things that were questionable in other movies. I think where this movie fails is in a couple of areas. One, a Joss Whedon script, which should be Firefly. I feel like the crew in this movie is like the skeleton of the Firefly crew. And that was obviously directed the way it was meant to be, lighthearted and fun. And this is a cool space adventure. Let's all have a laugh. Quippy, witty, whatever. This movie had that written in, kind of, but into a dark toned movie about aliens and motherhood and losing yourself and being reborn without choice and all of these other like super heavy elements, and pairing that with a surrealist director who doesn't even understand the jokes that are written on the page. There's so many things that just fall apart when you paired those director and writer together that it just became an abomination. That said, it's a guilty pleasure for me, so I'm not going to rank it as low as Run 7 because I bathe in joy when I watch things just falling apart because they're done so poorly. And I find the humor in those situations. I see what they are trying to do and failing at, and I laugh at them for it. So yeah, overall, I feel writing and direction really cripples this movie. It doesn't hold up because of that, but acting wise, it's okay. The actors did the job they were paid to do because the director's like, no, read it. This line reading should be this way. It should be serious. And they're like, are you sure? Yeah, no, a serious movie is kind of a mess. So overall, it's a 52 out of 100 for me because I got some laughs in all the wrong places.
All right. Fortunately,
I wish, Will, that I could find elements to enjoy
That's
about
fair.
this movie.
Yeah.
I admire that you can look at some of these movies and laugh, and I've been able to do that in some cases. But I think the only enjoyable aspect of this movie was Ron Perlman and his character. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, even that had issues, man. But yeah,
It's sure, but
the thing is you're right. This is a total Dan thing. Dan talks about this all the time. Ron Perlman is such a great, likable actor that you gravitate towards him, even though, like, at the beginning of the film, he's acting like a monkey, literally throwing a knife into a
paraplegic.
paralyzed man's leg that could get infected and he could just die so easily from that. But by the end of the movie, you're like, oh yeah, Ron Perlman, you're great, buddy. You shoot that
Right?
spider. You shoot that spider off the ladder, even though 2 minutes ago you said, why'd you waste all that ammo? And you just shoot that spider right off its web, bud. It's all good because you are likable.
When Ripley burns up 1 through 7, and he's like, "Must be a chick thing." Like, it's just.
I don't even understand that joke, but I knew it was written as a joke.
Yeah, it's just showcasing a guy that he's Ron Perlman, right?
Yeah. But again, plot hole city, he should have just offed that dude with the alien in his chest, even though like there's so many things that just are scripturally wrong, directorial wrong. It's a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Dan's gonna give this like a sweet score. Let's hear it, Dan.
I actually was really appreciating that you guys were just vamping for 30 seconds.
No worries, buddy.
I like that.
Shoot, that's live. How do I make this not?
Baka says not gross. It was moist. I think that's even more disgusting.
I think that's why he said it.
Yeah.
Green Tuckin, I scored it a 52 out of 100. You want us to keep riffing, Dan? Because I could talk all day, baby.
No, I just wanted to get that up but off the screen at the same time.
Right, fair enough.
Trying a new way to get it to show up because I hated
pop it up.
Yeah, because it always shows up like in the middle of the screen and covers Run Seven's face. It looks terrible. I was trying to figure out a different way to do it, but okay.
No worries.
All right. So I feel like I need to
preface what you're about to say, maybe?
I need to preface what I'm about to say a couple of different ways. First off, Will nailed on the head. You said something I was going to say, which is there are characters in this movie or actors in this movie who I legitimately really like, and that helps me get into this movie a little bit easier than when there is a cast of people I either don't like or I don't recognize. So having Ron Perlman, Winona Ryder, Sigourney Weaver, even the actor who plays Perez, I feel like I've seen in a bunch of different things, even though I really didn't like him in this, there was that like, oh, that guy, I like that guy, kind of a feel to him when you first see him. Also, worth mentioning, when we rate these movies, we're not rating every movie we ever watch on the same scale, even though they're all out of 100. Meaning, when I say that let's say this is a 90, I'm not saying that that's the same scale that I would use to rate, say, The Godfather. I'm walking into this expecting a silly alien movie. I don't have the same reverence this series does. I don't have the same reverence for this series that Brian does. This is clearly a franchise that he deeply loves and cares about. For me, this is just aliens killing people. When I walked into this, I expected aliens to kill each other in fun ways, and I was not terribly disappointed. I feel like, for the most part, the acting was decent enough that it didn't take me out. I like Ron Perlman quite a bit. I know it's taboo to say, but like Joss Whedon back in the day did have a lot of hits, whether you liked Buffy or Firefly or stuff like that. This felt very Firefly-ish. I didn't really think of that until Will pointed it out 10 seconds ago. But as soon as he did, I was like, I love Firefly. That makes sense why I'm connecting to this movie in outer space with this ragtag crew of characters. It wasn't great. It wasn't done as well as Firefly by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely helped to keep me engaged so that I was able to enjoy what was going on. As far as the actual plot goes, it was weak, to say the least. Where did they get the DNA for Ripley? Why does the DNA for Ripley have an alien attached to it? Why did they mutate it? Why did she mutate into an alien and the alien mutate into her? What the hell is going on with the Abomination in the last half of the movie. None of that really makes sense or works. But again, if that's the direction the movie wants to go, I'm going to go along with that ride as long as you don't break those rules. And some of the ways we saw the aliens interact in this movie, I actually thought was really cool because we've never really seen the aliens interact with other aliens. We've seen Alien 1 where there's just one alien, Alien 2 where there's a lot, but you kind of see them in the shadows. They're not really, you don't really get to see them around each other very, very much. Alien 3, there's only one alien, even though it looks red and green depending on what the scene is. And so this is the first time where you actually got to see aliens, Will said, communicate with each other. And I thought that was kind of neat. It kind of reminded me of what you would see in like a zoo setting or a wildlife, like National Geographic documentary where like, yeah, we're going to pick on the weak one to survive. Like that makes sense. That's what animals do in the wild. I thought that was really cool. Whether or not it holds up is totally up to you guys. It's up to you guys to determine how that works. The alien at the end, the abomination, looked absolutely stupid. If it didn't, I might not have had as much of a problem with it. We've seen this franchise where when the alien comes out of a human, it looks one way. When it comes out of a dog, it looks another way. It kind of makes sense that you would see a different evolution of it in a different way. I'm okay with that. I think the alien we got looked incredibly dumb. But the fact that it kind of gave me a feeling of like, oh, this is kind of like Frankenstein's monster where everybody's afraid of it and it can kill you, but it doesn't really know what its place in the world is. It doesn't really know what it's supposed to be doing or why it's there or why it exists. It was also birthed, as weird as this is, full grown, or we assume full grown, whereas everything else is birthed as an alien or as a baby and grows up at accelerated rates. But this is the first one that was born full size or potentially full size, and it just didn't know what was going on. I don't know that we were supposed to feel sympathy for it, but when you see those big dark eyes, there were times where I'm like, I kind of do in a weird way. Now, that being said, it's not a great movie. I'm not highly recommending this. I'm not recommending this at all. But I didn't beat against the same wall that Brian did when he watched this, and it's like, this is a complete abomination compared to the rest of the franchise. I feel like 3 was a much worse movie than this was, as far as an enjoyment level. If you're just walking in to sit down and watch a movie, you don't know what you're walking into, I feel like you could watch this and be like, that was kind of fun for a 90s movie, and move on with your life. Whereas I think 3 is a much darker movie, ending with Ellen killing herself and all the themes that are going on in there, starting off with her daughter dying, ending off with her killing herself. It's just bleak, and I don't like any of the cast members in that one, whereas at least there's fun characters in this one, as stupid as they may be. I don't think it's a great movie. I did have fun with it. I gave this one a 69.
And we all know Dan loves that number.
Whoa! Lame. All right. So with that being said, we have this works. Kinda. All right. Can we make that better? Can I make it fuller screen? That's better. It's not great, but it's not better.
It's great.
My score for the Alien franchise so far, 4 movies in, comes in at 73. Brian, shockingly, at the lowest with 69, and Will at the top with 75, bringing our rating of the Alien franchise so far to 72, meaning it still holds its top spot. Brian, how do you feel about that?
I'm really happy you guys are carrying the day on one of my favorite franchises, if not my favorite franchise of all time. Thank you guys for supporting it, even though your scores were absolutely incorrect, and this was the worst movie in the franchise, Stan. And how dare you relate anything in this movie to works of Mary Shelley? Are you kidding me?
I seriously think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why the alien came out larger. It was in a womb. It grew like a human embryo, right? Like,
but aliens don't grow to full size, and humans don't grow to full size. So, which one of those two traits is it taking? When it came out of the dog, it took on dog-like traits. When it comes out of the human, it takes on human-like traits. Which trait is it growing?
But like alien
you just wait till we get further in.
Fair.
But this one had like actually time to gestate and grow in the womb, so it makes sense it's coming out bigger than the other alien births that come out small. How's that different than the ones that come out of your chest? Because they're this big, and then over like a day they grow into a full-size human or bigger.
but they're still gestating inside of something. Anyways, whatever.
Dan, we can't talk about this till you finish the franchise. There's more to
Fair.
be seen.
All right, fair enough.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, I know, right? I will say this. So we are taking a week or 3 off from the Alien franchise. When we do return, we will be jumping into the David, hopefully, trilogy, or as of yet, it's just 2 movies that does focus more on the android, some say, than the alien. Goes over a lot of those themes. So I'm excited for this. A lot of people are frustrated with this because they say a lot like Resurrection, that it doesn't have the themes or things that they wanted in an alien title. I, however, do enjoy what's coming up for different reasons. It's very complex, very different feel. Looking forward to, as always, to see what comes up in this and in your guys' perspective, because these are going to be some controversial next 2 movies from the fan base of this franchise.
I
I'm
feel
looking
like
forward to it. This was one of my favorite episodes to record
Yeah.
in quite some time. I love when we're not on the same page.
the beauty of Alien movies, the franchise, is that people are hot and cold depending on the movie. And I feel like that is great for debate and talking about, because some people just love the direction that's taken and some people absolutely despise it. And then there's Resurrection that nobody should like. So, you know, it's got all the highs and lows. And I really like that as a franchise, that it can do that. And again, I give it credit because I give the credit mostly to James Cameron, because he specifically chose to change the genre to ensure that it was a different movie and that you could tell a different story or expand on the story in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've kind of followed that throughout.
Everybody tries to add their own spin to it or try to grow on it.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do we have a simple let's tell another alien story. Which is,
I think it'd be fair to say all 4 movies are maybe not different genres, but like vastly different from each other.
Yeah, I'd say different genres.
Well, 1 and 2 100% are different genres. 3 and 4 maybe a little bit closer.
I think 3 tries to go back to its roots in a different way. Whether they succeed or fail, I felt like they were trying to achieve some of what 1 had. I think 4 was just, I don't even know what.
It's an action comedy.
We'll see in the Covenant Prometheus movies a whole new direction, a whole new take on things. And that's why they do talk about them as the David movies. So I think it'll be really, I think it'll be just as lively a conversation as what we had here today. I think you guys, I have no idea where you guys are going to land. I'd bet dollars to dimes that none of our scores are anywhere near each other's scores on what's coming.
Honestly,
really
as
think
long
we're
as
gonna
there's
have
not
greatly different takes on these movies coming up.
As long as the average isn't 70 by the time it's all said and done, I'll be happy. All right, let's call that the end for the wrapping. I'll do an outro when I'm doing the editing, and we can just kind of hang out for 5 minutes before you have to take off. Green Tuckin', yes, we will be doing the final one. We're going to take December off, as Brian was saying, and do some Christmassy stuff. Back in January, we'll do Prometheus, Covenant, and Romulus, as well as finish off the last, help me out, Mad Max movie, Furiosa. And then all of the franchises we've done so far will be completed up to that point, and then we can move forward with whatever we decide to move forward with from there in February. But that is our plan for the next 2 months or so. I hope you all had a wonderful time. I had a great time recording this. I hope Brian doesn't hate me too much or have lost too much faith in me.
No, I love when we disagree too. I think it's great when Dan's wrong.
I think it makes better content, quite frankly, than when we're all just like, "Yep, I agree. Yep, 100%. Yep."
Oh, sure, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Dan, I think if we have acid for blood, Will and I are going to gang up on you. It's just how it's going to have to be.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Wait till you see me in real life, motherfucker. Bring it. You'll be the 2 raptors trying to take on my T-Rex.
That's fine.
Okay.
Doesn't go well for them.
Somebody just watched Jurassic Park 2 recently, huh?
Oh no!
Also,
that
the
movie's
parallels,
in my DNA. That is my Alien too. Like
Yeah.
that's one of those
Parallels
ones that I've just seen
from Jurassic Park to Alien movies is kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
how
terrified if we ever do the Jurassic Park franchise.
Oh, they're like this.
Yeah. It is a stock market in the 20s. That is for damn sure.
Yeah,
But
that's a
this
good analogy.
Alien Resurrection is totally Jurassic World, right? Like they have the working amusement park, they have them in captivity, and then all shit breaks loose.
Yeah.
It's like it's a dead ringer.
Movie question: does anyone remember what movie had a dog that pissed acid?
That
I can't say that.
somebody asked that earlier. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was Green Tucking earlier as well.
I remember a movie with a dog that pisses acid. I can't remember it.
In my brain, I'm coming up with The Mask, but I don't think he pissed acid. I think he just pissed on somebody and had that like funny look on his face.
Yeah, it was like a lot of piss or something because he was wearing the mask, wasn't he?
Yeah, the dog was wearing the mask at the time, so like look on his face as he was peeing on something. A dog peeing acid doesn't.
It doesn't
100%
ring
ring
a
bells.
bell. I'm sure it's out there though.
I mean, Google would probably bring up a couple of options, but
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been fun, y'all. Appreciate it. As always,
you're out.
I'm out.
All right, bud. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks
Later,
a lot.
Will. Yeah, I got to get going too. If you guys were joining on my stream, be sure to give Dan. Hold on, let's do. I think it's this movies. Yeah,
Exclamation mark movies should work in both of our chats now. Thank you very much for
I don't
setting
know
that
if
up.
that
By
worked
the
or
way,
not. Anyway,
hey,
yeah,
dog. How you doing, bud?
you can go see these. We do these every Thursday. I'm trying to do them live too, so that my chat can see what's been going on and catch up on things. So Dan runs the stream. That's why it's all the technical stuff is him. It comes out a little weird. Whatever. We're doing the best we can.
I think we're doing pretty fucking great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. My chat might notice things look and feel and run a little differently, and that's because we put Dan in the driver's seat over here on Thursdays, and we're just kind of giving it a go. But if you don't find me on Thursdays going live, then just be sure to check out Mongooli's channel because I'm probably over there, and I just we hit technical aspects or something.
Yeah.
But thanks, Dan, for running the show and having another great movie night. Looking forward to the next one. Really looking forward to when we get back to this franchise too, because I'm having a lot of fun with this one.
Honestly, I am too. I want to take some time off for Christmas because I just want to see some Christmas movies and try and get in the spirit, and it'll be good for quite frankly, it'll be good for content. But there's a huge part of this is like, do I watch Romulus tonight? Like, maybe I do. Maybe I just like jump ahead. We'll see.
I really feel strongly that you should watch all of the movies and then watch Romulus because there are so many call outs to so many different movies. And I think the experience would be better. There will be things you will miss and not get the reference to if you don't watch all the movies. You don't need to, but you'll miss things in it and be like, oh, look at that.
That's what they're talking about. I definitely will watch it again before we do the episode. So it's a matter of like, do I watch it now and watch it again in a month and a half? Or do I just wait a month and a half? Like those are the two options. It's not like, oh, I'll watch it now and try and remember a month from now. Before you take off, because I do want to respect your time, I think it'll just be easier if I talk to you. I'm sorry about doing this live. You sent me a couple of photos. Is there one of those that you do prefer better than the one we've been using? Or are you just giving me options? Because you at one point specifically said you want to send me a new photo. I assumed you had a photo.
Wow, I'm looking through them right now. I'm like, these are all terrible.
Yeah, they're pretty blurry. That's why I was like, kind of we'll stick with the one we've got.
See, it's weird. I'm using this camera to take that photo, but I'm using like an app on my computer and it comes out like trash. I don't know.
Are you anti the photo that we're already using, or like did you specifically want to replace it? Like you're not happy with it, or
I don't know. It's just like a weird look on it. You can use any picture you want. I don't even care.
Well, what I'm thinking about doing is reaching out to, I mean, if there's anybody in the audience or Fiverr or something, and getting our faces done like that picture, but done kind of like as a logo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a little easier to like put on different things, get the R rating actually done professionally so it looks better, and then have that as be like an artistic logo you can put in the corner of the YouTube thumbnail as opposed to just our three faces cropped together, which is like, okay, it works, but it's not great. But I didn't want to do that. And then you'd be like, okay, here's the photo I like. And be like, fuck, I just paid somebody.
Yeah, if you're gonna pay somebody to do it, let me try and find you a better one or figure out how to make this camera work better. Just take one with my phone because for whatever reason, when I use like OBS or a camera app on my PC, it just takes that grainy looking weird like crap photo. Like this looks way better than the clarity of those photos I sent you. I don't know why it comes out so trashy like that, but
I would agree with that.
I'll see if I can't get you something better.
Cool. All right, you have a great night. For anybody, sorry, floor is yours. Have a good night, Brian.
Bye, guys.
Okay, thought you were winding up for something. I'm going to jump ship. We are in Restream right now. I'm going to switch over to OBS. I'm probably going to play some Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. If you want to stick around and watch that, you're more than welcome to. I'd love to have an audience, someone to talk to. If that's not your thing, you're just here for our rating, I totally expect that. Thank you all so much for hanging out. You have a great night if you are taking off. But if you want to hang out for a little bit, I'm going to be around. So cheers. I do need to end the stream to jump over to that one. So just like refresh.